Hey, how you going? I thought I'd just do a quick demo on what's known as a resonator ukulele. Gibson came out with what's called the dobro guitar back in the early days, and also dobro ukulele, but that's a trademark similar to, say, the brand like champagne. You can't use that in Australia for your sparkling wine. So when you're referring to any brand other than Gibson, you call it a resonator. Same sort of thing. Resonators could be made in various materials, but usually they have metal cones in them, and they have a more brighter metallic sound, even though there's some with a wooden body. I went with this one, which is a Bourbon Street. Now, I'd never heard of these guys. Um, Nice nickel, solid thing. There's no pickup for it, but you don't really need one because of the sound. I'll play that in a minute. So this is sort of a mid-priced ukulele. I think they retailed for about $600 Australian. If you search on the web, you'll find very little about them. All I could find is a company called Scarlet Music from Adelaide is a distributor, but they don't write about it. There's nothing saying how good or how bad it is. There's nothing on the ukulele to say where it's made, but I'm assuming it's made in China, or Gina, as Donald Trump would say. Okay, so out of the box, this ukulele came to me only last night, so I haven't really had much time to play it. Setup was great in the fact that, there's good balance on the instrument. The strings were well strung, but as soon as I played it, I just hated the strings. They also had the standard tuning, which is the high G, C, E, A, and for most of my ukes, I replaced to the low G. It's just easier when you're playing songs that need that completion at the end, and the low G's better for a lot of blues and rock and roll and stuff like that. I'm not your typical Hawaiian ukulele player. I'm a frustrated guitarist who came to ukulele a few years ago, so as I said, I tend to put most of my ukuleles down to the low G. So what I did immediately, I took off the high G string and replaced it with a set of Aquila, or just one of the Aquila strings. This is the brand. They're probably, they're the best well-known brand of ukulele strings. There's heaps of other brands, and I'm going to be trying them in the next few weeks, and I'll do another report on those. But you can't really go wrong with a set of Aquilas or Aquila. They're Italian. They're proprietary sort of. They're like a fluorocarbon. I'm pretty sure they're fluorocarbon. They're not your standard nylons. So, although it improved the low string, the other strings were still very bad. I wish I'd sort of left them on and done a demo, but the problem I find with demos on the internet is that I saw one where it was playing from $500 ukuleles up to $14,000 ones. And apart from the skill and the ease at which the player could play the more expensive ones, the sound didn't come back much better because you're listening to it through an iPad or a phone or even a computer. The speakers aren't that great. When you upload the video, it's all compressed. Everything's digitized, so you can't really get a feel for listening to a ukulele over a demonstration clip. So although I'm going to play it to you shortly so you'll hear it, you probably won't notice whether it's good or bad. I'm an average player. I'm not saying I'm a great player. But why would you buy a resonator rather than, say, a normal wooden ukulele? Well, you really want that sharper, twangier sound. As I said, blues and jazz, it carries further. From what I've read too, your strings are more forgiving on it, so you can keep your strings on longer because they seem to sound better. With all stringed instruments, guitars, ukuleles, you put new strings on, they might take a couple of days to settle, just depending on how much you tune them. So put them on, give them a tune, play your favourite song, give them another tune, play it again, give another tune, and just keep going. Probably every song for the first 2 days you'll have to retune, but they'll sit there after a couple of days. You should always tune your ukulele or guitar every time you play, but once they're on for a couple of days, you probably don't have to tune until halfway through or even the end of the session, depending on how long you play. But yeah, this, as I said, this seems a very well manufactured ukulele, but in my opinion, two things let it down. The strings and the fact that there was no description about it or anything like that, but that's a moot point. I just took a punt on it because it's a mid-price resonator. I haven't played many other resonators, so I can't say how it compares to, say, a Recording King, which is another reasonable price one. The one's called National. I think they're a couple of $1,000s in America. They're sort of like the standard. They're like the Martins of resonator ukuleles, but I haven't played one, so I can't tell. And this is the first time I've really had a decent go at a resonator, and I'm still finding a little bit of, not a struggle, but just it's a different feel than, say, a wooden-bodied ukulele. I've got quite a few other ukuleles, but this was one that I really wanted for that twangy blues stuff. So I'll just give you a quick demo on Bluesy, just to see how it sounds. Now, as you can probably hear, it's probably even a little bit out of tune now. I only tuned it just before the start of this, but it's going to just keep going out of tune for the first bit. Just a little bit of lead. I'm not very good at lead, but I'll just play a little bit to show you. So yeah, so this, for the cost, what you're after and everything, I would give this like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I don't think it's going to play up on me too much. It's pretty well set. It's got the wooden bridge there. You put your strings through the bottom there. You just tie a figure 8 knot in there and slot them in there. Fairly easy to change. There were no problems with it. But as I said, I would replace the strings straight away with that. I would give this a 9 out of 10 if it came with Aquilas or something else. But yeah, there's some great strings going around, and I'll do a demo later on. But this is really just for this. As I said, it's a Bourbon Street ukulele. You can see it. And it's a concert size, and that's probably the best all-round ukulele. The sopranos are probably a little bit big for people like me with fat, stubby fingers. I like the tenors as well, but concert, good all-round, and I just tend to tune it with the GCEA standard, but I do the low G on it. So yeah, hope you enjoy it. If you're thinking of getting one and you haven't got a lot of money to spend, I picked this one up for about $400, including postage. They might be a little bit more expensive, but well worth it in my opinion. So an 8 out of 10, would have been a 9 if that come with the better strings. By the way, it has a really nice soft hard case with it that comes with it as well. So that's probably $70 to $100 or $80 value, I suppose, on top of that. But it's always good to have a nice travel gig bag if you're taking it out. All right, that's enough for me for now. Check back later on my channel. I'm going to start doing a lot more stuff about ukulele. All the best.